Okay, I'm going to call the meeting to order. We're going to start with the roll call. I'm sorry, you got ahead of you.
Ms. Bex, Ms. Harrell,
Here.
Ms. Hetland,
Present.
Ms. Jones, Mr. Miller,
Here?
Ms. Orcherton,
Here.
Ms. Salmon.
Here. Okay, I believe we have a quorum. So we're going to move to the approval of minutes of the previous meeting and also the June meeting because we did not have a quorum last time.
I'll move approval of those minutes.
I have
Okay, can I get a second?
I'm sorry, I have a correction to the July minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sure, go ahead.
I think on there, I was not listed, but Jess Snyder was listed as being present.
Oh, okay.
So
The correction.
Okay,
and
so that
attendance.
should
the correction is with the attendance, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
I also have a correction. I was
Yeah.
listed as attending, and I was not here.
Oops.
Uh-oh. Okay,
On
we need to make
July?
those two.
Yes, for July.
So you were,
Yeah.
Do I need to do
And you said
July
you were
and June
here?
separately?
Separately
Yeah,
then?
I thought so. Okay.
So we should put what approved.
Okay, so
correction.
first we'll do June. He just, bleh. Somebody seconded.
I think there were just interruptions.
Start over. and
Okay, let's start over.
wipe it-
Okay, the
wipe under
June
the
meeting.
board.
Anybody have any changes or comments? Okay. I move that we approve it. Can I use?
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. The July meeting, we just had two corrections. Again, I move that we approve the corrected meeting minutes.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Did you have any other additions to the agenda? Okay. We have no public input, so we're moving on to the staff report.
Good evening, everybody.
Hi.
This is your August Arts and Culture report from the staff. I'm going to begin with talking a little bit about some of our staffing this past summer, just to give you an update. The first thing I'll mention is I've been talking to you at each meeting about our Illinois Arts Council grant. With some of the other hiring processes we had going on at the city, this got a little delayed this summer, but we were able to hire Emmy and Aria. Aria's not here with us. Kay's here with us today, who's another intern I'll be talking about briefly as well. But I wanted to also particularly highlight these two new hires. We had gotten approval for one position, and because of our late start in the summer, I approached the Illinois Arts Council about allowing us to hire two people, because at that point we could probably use the same grant money to pay two different people. So we were able to do that, and most recently Emmy Muckenherd and Aria Pleasure joined our staff. Aria was not able to attend tonight's meeting, but these are both two interns that are supported through the Illinois Arts Council grant. The summer has flown by, so both of these interns will also, and our intern Kay, who I'll mention in a moment, both of them are going to be ending their internships at the end of August, because these are very brief summer youth employment experiences. But these two hires happened very shortly after your last meeting, so they have been in full swing working with our arts and culture programs, including the Downtown Get Down, and a number of other activities, as well as putting in administrative and office hours here at the city building and getting to know some city processes as well. But I wanted to sort of welcome the two of them, even though they won't actually be here by the time your next meeting rolls around, and introduce them. But Emmy, I want to particularly acknowledge you because you're in the room. So this is Emmy. Emmy is a recent graduate of Urbana High School, and Aria is going to be a sophomore at Urbana High School. Aria is our youngest of the interns. I wanted to also acknowledge Leona and John. I mentioned at the last meeting that John was finishing up his employment. Leona ended up securing an apartment in Manhattan and needing to move a little bit earlier, so Leona also has taken off before this meeting. She had to leave this past week. So we had a summer of having both of them through the Community Learning Lab program at the School of Social Work at the University of Illinois. Both of them are majoring in arts, marketing, and business, and John has returned to his home of Taiwan to search for jobs in arts marketing, and Leona's moved to Manhattan to pursue arts consulting work. So she's hopefully plans to stay in touch too and let us know what's been going on with her as well as John. But we want to thank both of them for being involved this summer. And I want to acknowledge Kay, who comes to us through the Care for You program out of our Urbana High School, but it's actually a project of Regional Planning Commission. So through a Regional Planning Commission grant, we also have her as a summer youth employee. Again, very similarly to Emmy and Aria, although she started sooner than they, she's been working with a lot of these programs too and has been helping with Urbana's Downtown Get Down. I also want to mention, and I have something that Kay will pass around about a new initiative that we'll have coming this fall. This is just a course description of a course that we're collaborating with through the School of Social Work. The School of Social Work operates this Community Learning Lab program. You've heard me talk about it a number of times. The exciting things about this program is that it continues to grow, so much so that it's now very interdepartmental. So the students aren't necessarily social work students, and actually many of the students we've had working with us through the program have not been social work students at all. But this time around, we are going to have some social work students working with the program, and that's because one of the professors wanted the students to come get some experience in the arts and thinking about the connections between the arts and healing. And so we have a group of students that are going to be working with us through Social Work 461, which is a course that you have a description of in front of you. It's a field placement course, so students get placed in agencies. A lot of times those are social service agencies explicitly, but on occasion there are agencies that are governmental or projects that are arts and culture related. So we have probably between 2 and 4 students, possibly a couple more, working with us through that program. The students get kind of an evaluation at the end, including a grade assigned, and they work with me as a supervisor, but also giving them insights along the way in terms of potential readings and things of that nature. I was willing to take this on in part because my last position had me running things like arts-based support groups, and I have that other history of doing more social work related work. So I knew some of the professors that are involved in this program and were able to tell them that yes, I can assign readings and things like that that are going to be relevant to the students. So that's another project, and they will just be working with us this fall semester. They put in about 2 hours a week, and they'll work on a very concentrated project. Right now we're exploring what exactly that will look like, but I met most recently with Gina Johnson of Good Things, who is a local therapist that also does a lot of like arts and healing work, and so they'll be working a little bit with her and I. Which brings me to another topic, and that's our Poet Laureate Will Rieger. Will's hit the ground running with a lot of new projects. If you've been following our social media accounts, you've probably been seeing some of these already. I want to acknowledge those of you, thank you for joining us at the reception for Will. This took place on July 10th from 5 to 6:30 at Analog. We had about 50 people out, and Mayor Marlin spoke, and we were able to give Will kind of a certificate of acknowledgement that he's our first Poet Laureate for the city. Will also held a listening session on July 31st. We had about 20 people come out to that. It was a small conversation. It was, circle up with a bunch of chairs and talk about what people want to see for our poetry community, and people were able to share information about what they particularly tap into already in the local community and what they'd like to see more of, and how they figure that should influence the Poet Laureate's priorities. Will also put out a survey with similar questions. It was designed with Will, but also our staff helped create it and circulate it. We have paper copies of this on the back of the room. You do not have to be a poet to fill it out. You can be someone who appreciates that poetry is in our community. So I would also love to invite you all to fill it out before you leave today if you're willing. But paper copies are on the back table. I also want to mention Will's new initiative, and this is Poets on a Park Bench. It's a mini TV series airing on UPTV that invites local poets to be in an interview with Will, where he'll ask them a number of questions about their work. He's already read their poetry before they arrive, and then they talk a little bit about their work and also get a chance to read some of their original poetry. So far, we've been just trying to pursue creating some pilot episodes so that we can see what this looks like. We're working with a videographer to create an intro for it, but otherwise it's filmed entirely through UPTV. And we're meeting at different Urbana parks, so we're intending to also showcase Urbana's beautiful parks and make sure that we meet at different ones and incorporate information about the parks and their history into each episode. The episodes will air on UPTV and on YouTube, so not unlike our Art Now episodes, we'll also be trying to pull the MP3 versions of them and send them over to WRFU, potentially also to WEFT. I want to also mention, and there's some footage or photos from our first ones that we filmed at Carl Park last week. We're filming some more tomorrow and some the next week as well. As you may know, Will is a professor of history at the Illinois State University, so pretty soon he's going to be on campus there many days of the week, so we're trying to get a lot done while his time is a little bit more available. But Will was also featured on Art Now. Our Art Now episode will continue to air until the few more days here in August, and then our next episode features Sean and Laurel, who came to give a grant presentation on the Let It Go project this last month. So they will be the feature of the upcoming month. And then we're also really excited to be featuring CU Jazz Festival. And because we're kind of on this like half of the month, the CU Jazz Festival episode will air in mid-September through the Jazz Festival and beyond it a little bit in October. So we're really excited about that. I want to mention a couple other of Will's upcoming projects. One is in conjunction with Murals on Glass, which this is a Murals on Glass cycle. I'm going to breeze through that part when we get to the staff report to save on time. He's going to be incorporating some of the poetry that he invites from different local poets that want to create a piece of work that actually corresponds with our, or is influenced by our murals. So these will actually be printed on adhesive vinyl and displayed near the selected murals. And we're going to be working with the sites that the murals are at, as well as some local poets that would put forth some proposals for that. I want to mention, of course, Urbana's Downtown Get Down. This upcoming Urbana's Downtown Get Down is going to be in conjunction with Sweet Corn Festival, so we're effectively adding a stage to the Sweet Corns Festival, and then we have in the Busey lot some different maker activities that have been happening. We will not have our arts market and our vendors because Sweet Corn has its own vendors, and they're there for 2 full days. So we have a little bit of a different arrangement for that one. We have the Park District staff here with us, and the Park District, 40 North, the library, and all of our partners, Urbana Business Association, everyone who's come together for this project have really done a tremendous job. We've been really excited about its turnout. The series so far has featured live concerts, DJs, the street market, kids zone, inflatables, live art demos. The most recent one featured DJ Grapes and DJ Funky Phil, and a live performance from Therapy. And the dance, this past one actually included a mini soccer game provided by Soccer Planet, demos from VO Ride, and we, for the first time, tried theater-style seating around the pop-up performance area, and that included 10 additional live artists and performance groups. We also had strong participation from Gilbert Gallery this past time, including 3 artists out on the street doing live demos of their work as well. In total, we estimate that we've featured over 60 individual local artists, 45 unique community organizations and maker groups, and over 70 area events held by downtown Urbana businesses. We estimate between 800 and 1,000 attendees at the most recent one in July. And our August one will feature DJ Silky and New Souls on the main stage, and a collaboration between the Urbana Free Library's Teen Open Lab and Good Things Urbana in the Busey lot doing Maker Lab activities. I also wanted to pass around a feature that we had in Central Illinois See You at Home magazine, because I know that we hadn't shared this yet here, even though it did come out a while back, so excuse me, but please enjoy it. There's a tab there for you to check out the pictures that were featured in the write-up. We've had some pretty good marketing around, and my plan is, once we got all this wrapped up after Sweet Corn Festival, is I want to kind of put together a report about Downtown Get Down in general that I can just share with you as kind of a recap of the summer. Moving right along, but this is a picture from the very last one in July, and some pictures of our artists. We've gotten some different photographers. Candy Cates took pictures at one of the events. Melinda Edwards at Smile Politely. These were some of the groups that were there and activities that were happening. This is a nearby art exhibit from one of our commissioners, now former Commissioner Stacey Robinson. And again, just wanted to share with you, if you haven't been out yet, for you to get kind of a picture of how it's been looking. Next one, again, we have DJ Silky and New Souls. I want to also talk about our summer movie night, because our last one that we're most involved with is tomorrow night, and it's a screening of Loving Vincent, first ever animation film made with over 60,000 paintings, actual paintings, which is very cool. We'll have some live music. The Champaign History Museum is going to be bringing out their historic popcorn truck, and we'll have some other activities earlier, but sundown is when it screens. We've been able to kind of put together this screen that that goes right over the Boneyard area, and it looks really, really nice. And it was put together with the help of Jake Metz and Matt Harsh, so I wanted to acknowledge them too. But that's, again, tomorrow night, roughly 8:39 is between then will be the start time. Urbana Arts Grants continue. We've got a lot of projects. I wanted to particularly mention some of the festivals that are coming up this fall. CU Jazz Festival, CU Black and African Arts Festival, and Pygmalion actually fall on the same weekend, and I was excited to connect those two groups this week, because I'm hoping that they can cross-promote and kind of work together, and they had some ideas for how to do that, so I'm excited about that. Obviously, our Sweet Corn Festival and Downtown Get Down, but also Heartland Maker Fest and the CU Folk and Roots Festival, among others. So there's a lot going on in Urbana. We have, and I know you've mentioned the art exhibit that's been up. I just want to mention that on Friday at noon is when we have our student panel with the students that participated in the Urbana High School Artist in Residency with Lisa Kessler. So if you're willing to come out, that'll be at Urbana Free Library from 12 to 1.
Is it Friday or Thursday? Because the 15th is the Thursday.
You're correct. It's actually Friday. Oh, wait. I should double check, because I'm holding a lot of dates in my head. I think it actually is Thursday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I will verify that.
Just let me know.
Yep. And then I want to mention also Art at the Market. So we had the 40th anniversary of the Farmers Market and National Farmers Market Week coincide this year. So that was this past Saturday. As kind of in preparation of that and Sweet Corn and the Urbana's Downtown Get Down, we had Corny out, which was actually with the help of these two right here, me and Kay, dressing up as Corny this past Saturday. We also entertaining the kids. We had a corn craft that the interns ran as well. And we had music by Jean-René Balikita and Bomo Yi. So that was an exciting performance that we had this past Saturday. We recently had, with Young Artist Studio, Theater Games for Kids activities in the Urbana Free Library. But the next one is going to be this upcoming Sunday, and that's a manga workshop. This time around, we're trying it with a little bit older kids, so we recommend 10 and up for this workshop. Typically, we get between like 5 and 8-year-olds or 5 and 9-year-olds most commonly, but this one will be a bit older. And then the following one, in conjunction with the CU African Black and African Festival, is going to be this African drum workshop with the organizers of the festival. And so that will be in September on the 15th. As I mentioned, we're still looking for a place to put the tumble arch. So we've done some investigation there, but I'm hoping to have an announcement by next meeting of where that will be located. Again, this comes sponsored by the MCDJ group, which is Mike and Connie Hosier and David and Janet Peshkin. They pledged to sponsor this new sculpture as part of Urbana's sculpture project. And so we thank them for their ongoing support of public art in the area. They've sponsored quite a number of sculptures in our area. And then we're going to have a release very soon for Murals on Glass, and I'm going to ask that commissioners help circulate that as much as you can. So we have not only Murals on Glass, but we're going to be doing that with our utility box wrap pilot program. So we'll do both at the same time. One piece of exciting news is we've already been reached out to by 2 different private organizations that are interested in sponsoring a utility box. So I can't make a formal announcement yet, but we're seeing some private interest in the utility boxes that are on private property, but also in a public kind of right-of-way area, possibly getting sponsored by some private sponsors. Last thing I really want to mention is one of the things that we have coming up that a lot of our attention has been put on is Welcoming Week, and this is part of Welcoming America's Welcoming Week, a nationwide effort to create welcoming communities for local immigrants. Here locally, a lot of the local immigration organizations get together with the Urbana Free Library, the city governments of Urbana and Champaign, and quite a number of organizations. Can you just push that? Quite a number of organizations to kind of put on a number of events. So they do a big week-long effort of events. And these are kicked off with an outdoor event, and that's going to be on September 13th. I'd love for, if you can make it out, to put this on your agenda. September 13th from 4 to 7 p.m. in the parking lot of Orpheum Museum. There's going to be a kickoff festival, and there will be mayors of both Champaign and Urbana giving a proclamation, and we'll have live music and activities. So that's the kickoff event. Our program does also submit events, including our Belongings exhibit, and that's the exhibit that we started last year. For those of you that might not be familiar, Belongings is in conjunction with Immigrant Welcoming Week, but the intention behind it is to invite local immigrants to select an object or an artifact from their home that reminds them or is connected to their experiences with immigration, memory, or the meaning of home, and something about that story that could be captured with that object. So what we do is we have a photo submitted or taken of that object, and then that person's story is also captured, a short version of that story. And we print the pictures and then have the stories on display here at the City Building at the Urbana Free Library. And now for the first time ever, we're going to have a display of the artifacts at Spurlock Museum as part of a collaboration with Spurlock. So that will also include an open scene, open mic immigrant story slam in November as part of the closing reception, and that will be at Spurlock Museum in, I believe, like kind of the foyer where there's the big spiral staircase. So that'll be kind of right when you come in. And we've been lucky to have some support from Spurlock for both that event and for having the display happen there. That's really the end of that report that I wanted to mention. As usual, we're always looking for new volunteers. I'm also seeking opportunities that will give us potentially some employees during the school year, including interns and volunteers through various programs. And I'm in conversation with Care for You about another program that they have during the spring semester that I'm hoping we can get involved with too. So I'll have hopefully some updates related to that. Oh, and I included this only because as I was looking for some of the marketing for the Welcoming Week, that it hasn't come out yet. It's like any moment now it's going to be released for the local marketing, but I was looking on the national page and I found a picture of Susan Ogwall, who actually is the creator of the CU Black and African Arts Festival, but she was also featured in a campaign last year that put Urbana in connection with a lot of different cities doing things for Welcoming Week. But that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Rachel. Okay, next we're going to have grant presentations. The first one is going to be Janet Sosby of Urbana Park District for the project All Around the World.
Hi.
Hi, Janet.
This is my third try to come to present about this, and I'm kind of sick, so I knew I couldn't cancel a third time because Rachel would.
We're very understanding, actually.
Rachel would get me. So I did submit the report for this final report. The last time I did this was for our barn quilt, and it was a much bigger project. I've not done one of these for something that was kind of a little more intimate, but Jay Sand is a Philadelphia area musician who actually was coming every summer. He and his family band do a tour, and he actually approached us. He was going to be in the area doing a presentation for. He was going to work with Hillel doing something, and so he was looking for other agencies to do a concert with. And so we worked with the library, and we ended up doing 3 different things with him and it's actually his 3 daughters that are in this band. So I did submit the lots of photos in the report. He did a Folk and Roots Friday concert at the Lake House in Crystal Lake Park. And I mentioned in the report that we had some really bad weather that just barely missed us, and it did rain on us, so our attendance was a little low. So we had about 40 people there. And what I really like about what he does is he teaches all different sorts of cultures through music and dance and song, and it's very interactive. and he kind of, he does all different sorts of things, and he keeps it very, very vibrant and very fun for the kids that were there. So we did have kids of all different ages. We also had a group of adults with developmental disabilities that were there, and they also really enjoyed it. We had some older folks that came. So he does lots of international children's folk rhymes. He does things with drums. We did like an East African working song. He did a marriage song from a different culture that I couldn't remember. He did a Nordic building song. And then we did some like Greek circle dance songs. So he kind of covers the whole globe. And what's interesting about when I think about covering the whole globe, last summer he was going, you know, he left Urbana and went to St. Louis, and this summer he and his children are in Europe. So they're in France and Greece. They're all over the place. And so, you know, that's their summer tour. You know, last year Urbana, this year Europe. But I have some pictures here of the concert at the Lake House that we had a lot of fun. So he did a Lake House concert on that Friday at noon, and then he came to Summer Arts Camp and did a workshop with our Summer Arts campers, and they all just loved it, and he actually ended up staying longer than usual because they were having so much fun that he did not, the kids didn't want him to stop. And then, so that was a Friday night, Friday afternoon and Friday later in the day, and then on Saturday he came to the Urbana Free Library, and he did a concert at the Urbana Free Library. And so I just brought a couple clips from my phone, like just quick videos I did of him and some of the kids that were dancing. I don't know how this is gonna. Ooh.
Thankful for the harvest, thankful for the sky, thankful for the rice, and thankful for our lives. Oh, Kentucky, oh, Kentucky, thankful for the harvest, thankful for the sky, thankful for the rice, and one more time.
So as you can hear, that was a harvest song where they were thanking Allah for the harvest. So and he handed out drums, and everyone got to play along, which was really exciting. I don't think this one is a birthday song.
You. Happy birthday to Dominic.
Maybe I should have played these so that they wouldn't.
Happy birthday to you. One more time to Amy. A bar, bar, yeah, a bar, bar, yeah, bar, bar, yeah, bar, bar, yeah,
that looks terrible.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Amy. Happy birthday to you. Excellent. Amy, is it really your birthday?
Anyway, we were really lucky to have someone of his caliber traveling along. He does have a Facebook page, All Around This World, and he does lots of, he shares lots of clips of YouTube from like folk musicians and professional musicians all across the globe, and it's really interesting, all the different music he shares. And he talks a little bit about the culture it comes from and the lifestyle and the things that the stories that are telling. And so it's pretty exciting, the sort of, you know, we don't get those sorts of opportunities all the time. So we are really thankful for your support to bring something like that to our kids.
Okay.
If you have any questions, just let me know.
Questions or comments from anyone? Okay. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, the next grant presentation will be from Deborah Larson of the Urbana Pops Orchestra for the Urbana Pops Orchestra.
Thank you.
Hi, welcome back.
You see it? So thank you again so much for the way you've consistently supported Urbana Pops Orchestra over the years. We honestly would not be this far. We wouldn't have been performing this many years without your support. To play music well and to provide entertainment is the goal of every orchestra, including Urbana Pops. But we have 3 additional goals that I think makes the organization unique. Our mission is to be accessible, educational, and affordable. And by accessible, we mean 2 things. We want to be accessible in the type of music we play. So we don't play a full symphony. We might play the most popular movement. So we play shorter classical pieces. We play music from musicals and film scores and other kinds of things like that that would appeal to a different audience. And we're educational. Every concert has approximately 20 to 30% student musicians, which gives them a really unique educational experience to rehearse and play in the same week for a concert, not like an entire semester like it is in school. And they sit right alongside professionals. But we also want the audience to learn a little something. So we've had, over the past years, Eve Harwood or Drew Edwards give like oral notes instead of, at a formal concert, you'll see program notes that give you clues to listen to and what the composer was thinking of. And our oral reports are kind of like that too. It's also, and this is where you all come in, so you make it affordable. And this year, all performances were free because of this grant. This means people on fixed incomes, people with maybe families that have several children, that they're not going to be able to pay $44 a piece for a ticket, or maybe a family with a child who they know are only going to be able to sit through half an hour of it. They don't have to feel like they have to stay. So I think that's really serving a need in the community. The other aspect of accessibility is that we play in unintimidating spaces as well. So it's something that people can come more relaxed setting. But they're hearing real orchestras play, and that's what's very exciting. Okay. Oops.
If you want to go to slideshow and put
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yep.
from beginning or.
Oh, there it is. Slide.
Yep.
Oops. Oh.
Oh,
I forgot that you were. Okay. Ah, good. Except you didn't see Bree. So one of our first 4 recitals was Bree Olenek percussion, and she played a snare solo. She played marimba. It was a very unusual piece, and it was also, I think, the weekend of. Is it Folk and Roots that's in March? Something else was going on that weekend too, but anyway, it was a lot of fun and very unusual. Our second one in April was Jancy Philippus on horn. I love the fact that the horn player is behind her on that mural. What was I going to say? Oh, one of the things about the library that's particularly fun is that the audience is very fluid. They kind of come in and out of the space as the toddler's attention span can hang on to it. It's really kind of comical because the smaller audience members will come right up and sit right in front of the musician. It's just really charming, and I like that they feel like they have that right to go back and forth. It's not stuffy.
Sometimes they knock your equipment over, too.
Our performers handle that very well.
You have no choice.
Yeah. In September, Daniel Sutherland, Shireen Hassan, John Garecki, and Nick Tipsword played a sax quartet. And in October, Tatiana Shestova played piano. And we always have cookies and lemonade afterwards. The library is great to host us. And I'm convinced that Urbana Free Library is one of the most hospitable spaces that we have in this community. They just make you feel so welcome, and what can we do for you? Later that October, Tamara Gingle, Jenny Johnson, Sarah Carilla, and several Urbana High School students were guests at the Urbana Farmers Market at the Square. And they played, it was like in conjunction with a Halloween celebration, and they played spooky music and tunes in minor keys that sounded kind of spooky, I guess. And this wasn't part of the grant, but I kind of wanted to include it because it's an example of ways that we're trying to say yes to when we're asked to do something. That's really nice, and it's nice that it does come with a little bit of a stipend for those musicians. So with the funding from the city and the donations that UPO was able to give, we have one full orchestra concert at Urbana High School. This is by far and away the most expensive thing that we do. It costs about $5,000 to do a concert, because there's so many people that are getting paid $50 or $90 that it adds up really quickly, and we pay insurance and rent or purchase music. All those kinds of things really add up. Showstoppers was billed as family-friendly review of Broadway and opera favorites. And because the Urbana School District has been so generous to us with in-kind donations for all these years, they let us use the space. They let us use the music stands and percussion instruments, which would be exorbitant if we had to rent them. And so we didn't charge admission, but we did decide that whatever proceeds we would get, we would donate back to the school. And this came, we got over $1,000 at the door, which never happens. We usually get $200 or $300, but we asked for donations for the school, and we're able to turn that over to them, so that was nice. So in Showstoppers, we had 45 paid musicians and 12 student musicians, so that group was about 27% students. Urbana Park District also does a kind of a summer theater preview for their summer show. We like to kind of highlight that because it was so early in the season, the whole group didn't really have time to practice yet. So we had a soloist come and sing Gimme Gimme from Thoroughly Modern Millie. There's Eve providing the commentary. And our guest artist was Shireen Hassan, the saxophonist. She's studying saxophone and business at Illinois Wesleyan, but she's also she's a very big soprano voice. And she's just a lot of fun on stage. She sang Misty, and then she sang Bernstein's Glitter and Be Gay. So she's wearing the boa for Glitter and Be Gay. Because Urbana Pops Orchestra rose out of the Urbana Summer Theater Program, Pitt Orchestra, we also provide musicians for their summer show. So one student in this group of 7 musicians for Thoroughly Modern Millie. There's a lot that can go wrong in a musical production. And especially a children's, or youth production. There's just all kinds of things. But the fact that they have a strong, reliable pit orchestra keeping things going, I think makes a big difference, and it really enhances the production. I do this a lot because I love the music, of course, but something that really does make me smile is attending the rehearsals, and I get to see the students flanked by professionals. Sometimes there's a moment of instruction, or the adults will lean over and mark something as kind of a reminder to watch out. Or I'll catch one of the students just looking at the adult next to them to check their posture or their bowing. And seeing them a few days later in the concert with their black and white concert dress on, I feel very proud of them for having accomplished that week. It's very challenging for them. So, of course, I like to play just a short clip just so you can say that there really was an orchestra on stage. And an example of a short classical piece. This one is 2.5 minutes. It's Suite Number 1 from Carmen by George Bizet. 2 rousing minutes. Oops. Let's see if we can get this to work. There's 12 students in there. fun, isn't it? Thank you so much. I can't tell you how much it means to us. And that Urbana is supporting the arts like this. It's wonderful. So, thank you.
Great. Okay. Did anybody have any announcements before we finish? Go ahead, Barb.
Talking about live theater and musical events, the show at the Station Theater called The Last 5 Years is still running until Saturday evening if you'd like to attend.
Thank you. Okay, in that case, I move that we adjourn. Can I have a second?
Second.
We're done. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.